Rockstar Gang, what up, what up? Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Panthers fans, welcome on in. Or if you're not a Panthers fans and you just love, I don't know, NFL talk at all. I mean, obviously you ain't doing much NFL watching right now, obviously with the offseason going on. But shout out everybody in the comments. What's going on, Panthers fans? Yeah, we've got some stuff tough but unpredictable call on that offensive line. We got to talk about some smart contract moves that could quietly unlock some cap space, some temp captain saving move that comes with some real on-field risk, right? None of these decisions exist in isolation, and together they tell us exactly where this roster is heading. But that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, man. We are going to be talking or this afternoon, I should say, because guess what? We're live and we haven't we're live. What's going on? Happy Sunday to everyone. Good Lord, hold on. I gotta share this. Post this. There we go. There we go. I gotta post it manually now on X because for some reason it does not allow you to post on there straight up. I don't know why. So sound off the comments. Let me know where you're watching. I hope everyone's having a great Sunday. And I just wanted to come in and talk some football, man. I mean, what else we got going on, besides the U.S. men's hockey? Shout out to U.S. men's hockey winning the gold medal. All right. Shout out to U.S. men's hockey winning the gold medal over Canada. All right. Yeah, I mean, we all, I don't know if anybody watched that woke up this morning and decided to watch hockey at 8:00 in the morning, but I sure as hell did. I watched some of it until I had to go to church. So yeah. Shout out to everybody though. Appreciate everyone joining. Again, as you guys come on in, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And make sure you click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on any new content. I don't know why that was so hard to post on X, but I had to do that for some reason. We do have a lot of big decisions to talk about, though, chat. We do have a lot of big decisions to talk about tonight or to this afternoon. I don't know why I keep saying tonight. I guess because I'm so used to being around you guys at night. Being around at night. So anyways, we got some people on. So let's get into it because the first things first, we're heading towards a tough but unpredictable call on our offensive line. We're about to we're entering the most uncomfortable phase of the roster building, right? Deciding who they likely will versus who they can afford. Free agency it's right around the corner, man. Like it's going to hit us like a ton of bricks. I mean, Dan Morgan has a long list of decisions to sort through. We just won the NFC South, obviously. So the message inside this building so far, I think has been clear, especially even at the end of the year, Dan Morgan's press conference, that this team believes that it's obviously trending in the upward and right direction. And so you don't want to waste any of that momentum by just standing still. But progress creates pressure. Winning forces hard decisions. And I think we got some coming. I think we got some tough ones coming. What's good, Earl? Shout out to Rock. Again, appreciate you guys joining. Let me share my screen real quick. First thing we're going to talk about is Cade Mays. Again, we've talked about it on this show before with Cade Mays. Here's the thing, chat. Kade Mays is one of those guys that I have been pounding the table for, right? I've been pounding the table for to get this guy back. Okay. Some roster calls will be straightforward. Others will require real trade-offs, and I just think that Kade Mays falls squarely in the second category, right? Where Kade Mays has earned starter respect and starter money. So Mays has quietly become one of the steadier pieces of our offensive line over the last 2 seasons, right? He has been a dependable starting center, providing stability in front of Bryce Young during some critical development stretches, and that matters, right? Mays knows it. He's no longer playing on potential projection. He's a proven starter. He's going to want to get paid like one. But there's always that problem. There's always a catch. Okay, there's always that catch. Is that we already have significant money committed to the offensive line. So adding another big contract to that mix isn't simple, especially when there are still holes elsewhere on the roster. Right? But let's not forget, man, Kade Mays is almost in the top 10 of pressure rates allowed, pressure rates. So, I mean, 2.5. I mean, he's almost a top 10 center in the NFL right now, according to just even from a pressure rate standpoint. All right. So this is center pressure rates from the 2025 season, and he ranks 11th among them. All right. So if we go to Spot Track and we go look at Kade Mays' contract, this is where things get interesting because his market value is at a $12.3 million. All right. The projected contract, though, is that it was what you're seeing is a 3-year, basically $36 million. All right. Where he's basically making $12.2 million per season. So that number alone explains why this situation. What's up, Slick Vic? What's up, Luke? What's up, Antonio? What's up, Chance the Fapper? Long time no see. I hear you. And we've gone over Kade Mays multiple times on this channel. I know that I kind of sound like a broken record and I'm bringing up something that we've already talked about, but I really can't talk enough about it. All right. You know, that's true, Rock. No one does talk about it. I've talked about it multiple times on this channel. Okay. Yeah, we can't forget the chemistry that Kade Mays and Bryce Young have under center. Now, as we keep going, let's continue here with this whole structure of Kade Mays is that at that price point, that simply just can't justify the deal, even if they want to, unless both sides find a middle ground before the free agency opens. The most realistic outcome is Mays testing the open market. That doesn't mean that the Panthers don't value him. It just means that they're operating with real financial constraints. Now, Brent Tillis, again, we know he's very good. And it's crazy. He's a 5th. They've got him ranked the 5th ranked best center here on Spot Track, by the way. I don't know if that's from a free agent standpoint or if that's from a market value standpoint. NFL ranking, they've got him 218th. But again, I think from a center ranking, that's where they have him ranked among all centers, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it's just from a any other standpoint. So, but see, the league has already has noticed about Mays. There's already been rumors that, you know, the Patriots could go after Kade Mays, or I think I saw the Baltimore Ravens, right? If Mays does hit the free agent, he won't be on there long. All right. Mays is going to have a strong free agent target on his back, specifically pointing to his elite pass protection numbers from the 2025 season. Okay. And he was again, top 11 in pressure rates. So again, also, I've heard that the Arizona Cardinals could be one of the most logical landing spots, because if you think about it this way, Cardinals could use Cade Mays we're just being honest, I mean, you got a new head coach, Mike LaFleur. You got Arizona who could prioritize that offensive line versatility. And Mays checks that box. I mean, at 6'6", he can play center, he can play guard. Obviously, his best performance has been at the center position. But while he has some athletic limitations, he's reliable. He's technically sound. But Mays this year also, let's not forget, he had a 94.3 pass blocking win rate in 2025, which ranked him 20th out of 31 qualified center. So that's pretty damn solid. Starting level, he's got starting level production, ladies and gentlemen, especially in pass protection. Some teams consistently, pay for. They will consistently pay for. So, again, it's crazy. It's just a tough situation because if Carolina lets May, if Carolina lets the market decide, there's a real chance that the Panthers let Mays explore the free agency. It would not surprise me before committing to anything. Like his rise from the 2022 sixth-round pick to a full-time starter is exactly the kind of success story players, the players you draft, hope to turn out into paydays. And if that payday comes from another team, and Carolina may have no choice but to wish him well and move forward, but that doesn't mean that Morgan will be caught unprepared. I mean, you have to have a contingency plan is the real story here if he hits the market. What's up, Tyrone? What's up, Joshua? No, I mean, Joshua, you're not being negative. You do have to be realistic with yourself. That's why we're talking about this. I've been talking about pounding the table about re-signing this guy, but again, it might not be. That might not even be on the table. That might not even be on the table. But again, because it depends on what Mays does. But Dan Morgan, again, doesn't operate with a backup plan. We've seen that. He knows exactly what Mays is asking for and how far Carolina's willing to go. Who knows? Mays might not be even asking that much. We might re-sign him for a cheaper deal. Who all knows? We'll see. Whether the gap is bridgeable, we'll see. If it's not, then the decision becomes clear, even if it's unpopular. Like, what matters most is avoiding a drop-off in front of Bryce Young. Given how much money is already invested in our offensive line, we may have to decide that using an early draft pick on day one, on a day one starter at center or guard is the cleanest solution. It's cheaper, it's controlled, it fits the timeline of Young's rookie contract. Now, again, nothing is final here. Okay, nothing is final, but the decision is clear. Mays could still return if the numbers align, but the longer this goes, I just feel like it's a classic case of player pricing himself out of his original team. Carolina cannot afford to get sentimental. They also can't afford to get caught short either. So whether that means replacing Mays in the draft or pivoting to another veteran option, Morgan will have to have an answer ready. Because that's the difference between these teams that stall after success and teams that keep moving forward. Can't pay everyone. You'll have some positions with younger and cheaper talent. Yeah. Keep pounding, brother. Again, guys, sound off the comments. Let me know where you're watching from today. Love to know where everybody's at, wherever you're from, whether it's South Carolina, North Carolina, California, Australia, Germany, Bangkok, wherever you're at. I don't know. Shout off in the comments. Love to know. Love to know. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. That's all I ask. And subscribe to the channel. All right, let's move on. Because Clay, I like the center from Miami. I know who you're talking about. I just can't think off the top of my head right now. I know who you're talking about. I just can't think off the top of my head. We got to talk about a guy here as in Damien Lewis. Um, Here's the thing with Damien Lewis that people don't realize. And we're going to get into his contract as well. This is a one smart contract move that could change part of our offseason and how we go with things, right? We're not going to blow up the extra. See, the thing is Carolina and this front office, they don't plan on blowing up the roster to just find extra cap space this offseason. Okay. They just need to be smart about who they commit to and when. I think Dan Morgan has been clear about his intentions. He wants more financial flexibility, right? Before free agency opens. Cutting veterans is going to be one way to get there. That discussion has already started. All right. We're going to talk about someone that we possibly could cut, but there's another option that doesn't involve losing anyone, and that's Damien Lewis. Actually deserves more attention than I think it's getting, because Damien Lewis, the option is Damien Lewis, and Lewis didn't arrive here with the same level or hype as Robert Hunt did, right? But the impact has been just as important, if not more, honestly. Now, Morgan and Dave Canales knew exactly what they were getting because they worked with Lewis during their time in Seattle. So that familiarity mattered. It paid off. But Damien Lewis has been exactly what we've needed, especially stepping in at that left guard position. He has been outstanding. He has brought the physicality. He's brought the consistency and an edge I think this offensive line badly lacked. I think his aggression shows up on film. I think his durability shows up in the snap counts. I think his reliability shows up every Sunday. I don't think you could ask for more of a complete player, especially on the offensive line, than a Damien Lewis. All right. But I do think Lewis has been one of the Panthers' 5 highest graded offensive players by PFF in each of the last 2 seasons. The only players graded higher were Taylor Moton and Tetero McMillan. Okay. So that's good company to be a part of. He's also been dependable. He's only missed 2 starts in 2 years, which matters a lot, for a team trying to stabilize that protection in front of Bryce Young. Now Lewis is entering that 3rd year of that 4-year contract. I think this is the right time for us to think about locking him up for the long term. Okay, this isn't just about performance. It's about the timing. All right. So what I mean by this is Damien Lewis is only 28 years old, chat. And for an interior offensive lineman still at his age, typically age well into their early to mid 30s. I think you extend him now. It would be one of the smartest investments in a core piece of your offense. Because here's where it gets real interesting. So let's go to Damien Lewis's contract. I might have to use over the cap. Let me see. I might have to use over the cap. Hold on, chat. Yeah, I'm gonna have to use over the cap. Okay. Let's go to Damien Lewis. Where you at? Boom. All right. So with Damien Lewis, okay, he's 29. I thought he was 28, but he's still, again, it don't matter. He must have just turned 29. It couldn't have been that long ago. All right. So he's 29 years old. So right now, looking at this, okay, based off my understandings, all right, We're looking at over the cap with 2 years remaining on his deal. Okay, if we extend Lewis right now, so an extension, look at that. You extended him with 2 years remaining on his contract. You free up $9 million. Okay, that's not pocket change because right now we're only projected to have what, 12.5 or whatever it is with 54 players under contract. An extra $9 million nearly doubles your flexibility. So that kind of breathing room can be the difference between settling for depth pieces and actually upgrading meaningful positions. Why this move makes a lot of sense to me, okay, is that fact that this is a rare contract decision that checks every box. And Lewis has earned it. Joshua's watching from Utah. Shout out to Joshua. Got the Dirty Myrtle in the house. What up, Hatred? What's good, Trizzy? What's up, Jay? Again, Lewis has checked every box, man, for an extension. Because again, number one, he's earned it. Number two, he fits the team's timeline. He's a long-term building block. He creates immediate cap flexibility. There is no downside if the numbers make sense for both sides. So I think Lewis and Hunt have completely changed the identity of our offensive line. I think Dan Morgan took a real risk by pouring money into that interior when he took over as a GM. And it worked. I think the line is tougher. I think we've definitely seen it be more stable and far more trustworthy than it was before. I think if Lewis is open to an extension, and then there's no obvious reason he wouldn't be, right? This would be a relatively clean negotiation. There's the big picture here is this. We don't need to just do these gimmicks because there's teams out there that just love to do gimmicks to open up cap space. We just need to be smart, forward-thinking decisions like this. You extend Damien Lewis, you're accomplishing two things at once. You lock down a cornerstone who protects your quarterback, and then it gives the front office extra money to attack other needs across the roster. That's just how good teams operate. So, if we can get a deal done, it won't make, it might not be the biggest headlines you see all offseason for us, but it will quietly shape up how I think our entire offensive offseason could really shape out, to be honest with you. That's right, USA, baby. USA, gold medals, hockey team. Shout out to them, man. Shout out to the U.S. men's hockey team today. If you watched the game, it was crazy. That was a crazy game. Went down to the wire, but we got the job done, man. We got the job done. Again, appreciate you guys. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We got 42 people watching on the YouTube. We only got 17 likes. So we've got like 23 people who are just absolute lazy. So let's go. Get them likes up. I would greatly appreciate it. It goes a long way. And that's all I ask. And it's free. And it takes about 2 seconds of a click. So shout out to you guys. All right. Let's get into Law Max. What's good? Let's talk about something that I don't know a lot of Panthers fans would. I don't know how some of you guys, and it's all, I really do think that you guys need to sound off on this. I'm going to use a tweet that I saw because I was thinking about talking about this. Says, I don't know about y'all. I want to keep Ashawn Robinson. The vet presence seems to be a leader in the locker room and well respected, and also as has performed well with us. Not sure saving $8 million is more important than losing him, but maybe that's just me. Well, we do need to talk about it because we can clear up some cap space with an Ashawn Robinson move. Again, we're not broke. Okay, we're not exactly sitting comfortably either. This team sits under, I think, $10 million in true salary cap space, which, again, well, I think, no, where are we at? Let me go back to the spot. Let me go back to our salary cap. Salary cap right now is at 12.5. All right. 12.5. And there's multiple things that we need to do. I think, you save a lot of money with an extension with Damien Lewis, right? You save some money if you restructure Taylor Moton as well. Ashawn Robinson, if you cut him pre-June 1st, you save $10 million, right? So you're at $12 million. You're basically, if you can do 3 of those, you're sitting in a pretty spot. You saved about $30 million in the offseason, add that on to your 12, you got $42 million to work with, plus then the bump that we're going to get from how, with all the revenue, the ad revenue that the NFL is bringing in. But right now, we're talking about a team that's sitting at $12.5 million in cap space, which puts us roughly in the middle of the league. So that number alone tells you one thing, that, again, what we've been talking about this whole time is Dan Morgan's going to have to get creative this offseason. Again, that's why the Cade Mays is going to be something we got to watch. Damien Lewis definitely could get an extension. Trades, restructures, Taylor Moton restructure, extension, Damien Lewis. Those are all things that I think are going to be coming. But the fastest way a lot of teams like to do is they like to clean their open cap space up with some cuts. The question is whether that move actually makes the team better. There's not one decision on the table that would immediately change our financial picture. But if you go and cut, so let me go back over here, Ashawn Robinson. Let's just say we decided to cut him pre-June. Yep, there it is. You save $10.5 million. You free up that much. You only have 2.1 million, I guess you could say, in dead money. From a pure financial standpoint, if we're being honest, if we're talking about from a pure financial standpoint, it's almost too clean. One transaction would essentially double, again, the available cap room. We're sitting at 12.5. You save $9 million by, again, extending extending Damien Lewis. You restructure Taylor Moton. You save 8, and then if you cut it, Ashawn Robinson, you save 10. You basically save $27 million between those 3 moves, right? But this move right here, we're just talking about essentially you free up 10.5, and then you only have 2.1 in dead money. See, these are the football decisions that are not going to be the easiest for us, okay? Ashawn Robinson has been one of the best or better defensive linemen we've had on paper, because on paper, Robinson looks like an obvious cap casualty, but if we dig a little deeper, that's not simple. That's not very simple, ladies and gentlemen. We go look at Ashawn Robinson's numbers. It's not, it ain't that bad. It ain't that bad for the first 2 seasons of being here with us. You look at his numbers in the first 2 seasons here in Carolina. He's played 17 games last year. He played 16 games last year. He played 17 games this year. 5.5 sacks last year, 2.5 this year, 80 total tackles last year, 65 this year. I mean, when he finished with 5.5 sacks last year, and then in 2025, he ranked among top 10 defensive linemen in NFL run stops. So obviously the production matters from that standpoint, right? From that standpoint, especially for a defense that has struggled to control the line of scrimmage far too often. What makes this evaluation tricky for me is the context, because Robinson wasn't bad in 2024. Okay. He was basically our Derek Brown when Derek Brown was out of the lineup. And he really was put in a role that really wasn't ideally suited for him. So with 2025 being more stable, having more rotation, having more guys, he looked like a version of Robinson. He still looked good. So yes, cutting him saves money, but it also removes one of your few defensive linemen who actually has produced consistently. The Tershawn Wharton contract complicates everything, though. See, the financial pressure behind this discussion doesn't exist in isolation. Last offseason, we signed Turk to a 3-year, $45 million contract deal that has already aged poorly. Wharton didn't play up to his he hasn't even played up to his contract yet. He barely played up to it at all this year. So we're kind of stuck with it for right now, unless he, so if he comes back and he steps up, great. But you cutting Robinson would also help offset the cap hit tied to Wharton. It wouldn't solve the production problem, but moving on from Robinson would ease the financial burden. It would also remove a player who has actually delivered. The stats don't lie in the first 2 years. So Wharton should be better this year, in my opinion. I would hope so. But should doesn't win you games, man. Like we can't go based off of hope or shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know what I mean? Robinson has already proven he can hold up. So that's the risk. You're betting on Wharton rebounding while subtracting a lineman who gave you real snaps and real results. But is the cap savings worth those type of gambles? I think that's a question we got to ask ourselves here, chat. Ultimately, I suggest a middle ground. Ask Robinson to take a pay cut. That's probably the smartest path forward, assuming Robinson is open to it. Whether that happens remains to be seen. But it reflects the reality of the situation, because we want the flexibility without losing the player, right? Because as things always stand right now, cutting Robinson would outright doesn't feel like the right move, right? That change, depending, on the draft, right? If Carolina goes out there and Dan Morgan goes out there and picks up a defensive lineman like Peter Woods or Caleb Banks or whatever, right? Then losing Robinson becomes more, I think, survivable, right? Rookie production wouldn't fully replace him, but the long-term upside might actually justify the short-term drop-off, but it doesn't add immediate help up front, though. You let Robinson walk would leave a noticeable hole. At that point, the 10.5 in the savings doesn't look quite as generous when you're just trying to replace run defense and interior pressure. So we've got some big decisions coming. I think we got some big decisions coming, chat. I really do. Like if we could save serious money by cutting A'Shawn Robinson, financially it's clean and tempting. I think football wise it's risky. As for Damien Lewis, I think if you extend Damien Lewis, again, you accomplish two things at once. It locks down a cornerstone protector for Bryce Young, and it gives our front office the extra money to attack other needs. And maybe if you did cut A'Shawn Robinson, it could bring in someone maybe cheaper, but could get higher upside. Maybe the same amount of production. Who knows? Maybe that's a route. And again, nothing is official yet with Cade Mays. Mays could still return if the numbers align, but longer this goes, I just feel like it's going to be more of a classic case of a player pricing himself out of his original team with Cade Mays. Whether that remains, but we'll see what happens. Maybe we replace Mays in the draft or pivoting to another veteran. Hopefully not. I hopefully think that if we can get the deal done, I would love to get that. It just depends if the price is right and Carolina's and Morgan and Tillis are like, yeah, we can make that work and still get some guys in here from the free agency. But we shall see. But I do think they're going to have a lot of big decisions to make. They're going to have a lot of big decisions to make coming up. So, again, sound off the comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think that, again, let me know if you think that letting a solid starter like Kade Mays test the market, right? Let me know what you think in the comments. Would you try to keep Kade Mays, lock in a cornerstone like Damien Lewis at the right time? Would you extend Damien Lewis right now? And the resisting the urge to chase cap space at the expense of on-field production like A'Shawn Robinson, is cutting A'Shawn Robinson worth the risk? Again, if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on the notifications for more Panthers offseason coverage. Again, we got some tough calls to make, man, and we got some big decisions to fill. So, again, I'll catch you on the next one, chat. Got some more content coming out to you here today. So make sure you tune into that. Some NFL stuff, some Carolina Panthers stuff. So make sure you tune into that. Other than that, guys, happy Sunday. Glad I got to spend some time with you guys today. God bless. And as always, go USA. And as always, keep pounding. I'm out. Peace.